A new video from Coronation Street confirms that Megan is finally going to face the consequences of her actions, and it hints at who might bring her downfall. The disturbing abuse carried out by Megan Walsh against a teenage student is about to be exposed in the long-running soap. Viewers have been anticipating this moment for a long time, as the teacher has secretly been grooming student Will Driscoll for several months, while Sam Blakeman remains the only person aware of the disturbing truth. To make sure her secret stayed buried, the manipulative Megan treated Sam with shocking cruelty, deliberately attacking his reputation so that no one would believe him if he ever spoke out. As a result, Sam has been living under enormous pressure, terrified that his attempt to gather evidence against Megan could backfire after she threatened to accuse him of secretly filming her and labeled him a pervert. However, Megan's time may finally be running out, as upcoming scenes will show Leanne Battersby becoming increasingly suspicious and beginning her own investigation to uncover what is really happening. In dramatic moments, Leanne eventually discovers the shocking truth about Megan's manipulation of Will and the relentless bullying she inflicted on Sam. News of Megan's disturbing behavior soon spreads to the Rovers, leaving Ben, Eva Price, and the dangerous Maggie stunned and struggling to process the revelation. The big question now is whether someone in the group will try to collect proof to ensure Megan faces justice, or if they will take matters into their own hands and seek revenge instead. Megan is also among several characters who appeared in a mysterious flash-forward scene last month, showing events from April when tragedy unfolds on the day of Carla Connor and Lisa Swain's wedding. During that scene, Betsy is questioned by investigators after discovering a dead body, although the identity of the victim has not yet been revealed. Possible victims could include Megan, Maggie, Jody Ramsey, Carl Webster, or Theo Silverton. Since Megan is expected to be exposed as a predator shortly before that terrifying night, some viewers are wondering whether she might be the one who ends up dead, or if another character will meet a tragic fate instead. A shocking twist is coming in Coronation Street as Theo Silverton appears ready to take revenge on Todd Grimshaw following their bitter breakup. In upcoming scenes, the dangerous Theo secretly spikes Todd's drink with drugs as his jealousy begins to spiral completely out of control. The disturbing move could potentially put Todd's life at serious risk. Now single, after the dramatic events of this week's episodes, Theo shows up at the bistro where he notices James Bailey offering Todd encouragement before his upcoming marathon. The three exchange a tense conversation before Todd steps away to answer an important phone call in private. Unaware of what is happening behind his back, Todd has no idea that his vengeful ex is secretly emptying a packet of drugs into his drink. A Corrie insider explained that Theo's jealousy becomes overwhelming when he sees Todd spending time with James. According to the source, watching the two men together triggers Theo's envy and fuels his darker instincts. Taking advantage of the moment when nobody is looking, Theo quietly pulls out a packet of drugs and mixes them into Todd's drink before anyone notices. Although Theo's exact intentions remain unclear, the act leaves Todd in an extremely vulnerable situation. Earlier in the week, Theo returns to Todd's place to pick up the last of his belongings following their painful breakup. Todd is clearly heartbroken about the split, but Sarah Platt tries to lift his spirits by inviting him out for lunch. Unfortunately, the outing quickly turns awkward when Todd notices Theo sitting nearby with another attractive man while looking through the menu. Seeing Theo move on so quickly hits Todd hard emotionally. The insider reveals that Todd is still struggling with the breakup, and spotting Theo on what appears to be a date so soon leaves him deeply upset. Even though Todd knows how cruel Theo can be, witnessing him happily spending time with someone else still hurts more than he expected. Later in the week, Glenda Shuttleworth encourages Todd to start dating again and move forward with his life. Taking her advice, Todd bravely decides to tell Theo that perhaps he was right and that they should both finally move on. However, Theo responds by flirting with Sean Tully at the Rovers. Soon after, Todd informs Theo that Glenda has already arranged a date for him, leaving Theo to react to the news. At the bistro, Todd meets his mystery date, unaware that Theo is sitting just a few tables away celebrating Gary Windass's birthday. Determined to prove he is perfectly happy without Todd, Theo loudly laughs at Gary's jokes and tries to show he is having the best time of his life. Watching the performance, Todd struggles to concentrate on his own date sitting across the table. Later, Theo pulls Todd aside and claims he might accept a job opportunity in Belfast so they can completely cut ties. Todd is clearly devastated by the thought, while Theo secretly enjoys seeing how much pain he has caused. But when Theo later slips drugs into Todd's drink, it raises a frightening question about what he truly has planned. With Theo's twisted actions escalating, Todd could be facing more danger than he realizes. Coronation Street has revealed another cruel move from Theo Silverton as he sets his sights on a new target. The manipulative Theo continues his efforts to cut Todd Grimshaw off from the people closest to him. And this time, funeral director George Shuttleworth finds himself caught in the villain's crosshairs. In the latest scenes, Theo directs his attention toward George, who is not only Todd's employer, but also someone Todd has long considered a father figure. Theo struggles to hide his frustration when he overhears Summer Spellman and George discussing the fact that James Bailey had spent the night at Todd's house. Attempting to calm the situation, Summer insists that nothing romantic happened between Todd and James. However, George casually reminds Theo that Todd is single now and free to make his own choices. Theo responds by wishing them well, though the tension in his voice suggests his words are far from sincere. A dark look on Theo's face makes it clear that he is already thinking about how to retaliate against George. Later, while dining at Speed Dahl with Gary Windass, Theo notices a perfect opportunity to act on his revenge. Gary points out Annie, a woman who had previously accused George of cheating her elderly mother out of money. Sensing a chance to cause trouble, Theo immediately begins putting a new scheme into motion. He approaches Annie's table and pretends to be another dissatisfied customer. Theo falsely claims that George had also scammed his own wife by overcharging her for a funeral arrangement. Continuing his lie, Theo sarcastically suggests that George should practically be dressed like a stereotypical criminal. He even hints that George's assistant should be viewed with the same suspicion. Actor James Cartwright, who portrays Theo, explained that the character's actions are driven by a desire to completely control Todd. According to him, Theo wants to prevent anyone else from influencing Todd or giving him advice. Because George is the one person Todd truly trusts, Theo sees him as the biggest obstacle to his plan. For Theo, removing George from Todd's life would make it much easier to manipulate Todd without interference. Realizing the opportunity in front of him, Theo decides that pushing George out of Todd's circle is simply too tempting to ignore.